If you enjoy the content on this channel, please like and subscribe. Poor Things is a 2023 film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and written by Tony McNamara. It stars Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Ramy Youssef, Christopher Abbott and Jerrod Carmichael. Based on the 1992 novel by Alasdair Gray, the plot follows Bella Baxter, a young woman in Victorian London who comes to life through a brain transplant and embarks on an odyssey of self-discovery. Critics identified multiple genres with elements of comedy and steampunk. Poor Things premiered at the 80th Venice International Film Festival on September 1st, 2023, where it won the Golden Lion. It was released in the United States on December 8th, 2023, and in Ireland and the United Kingdom on January 12th, 2024, by Searchlight Pictures. The film was named one of the top 10 films of 2023 by the American Film Institute and the National Board of Review, and has grossed over $104 million worldwide. It received 5 wins at the 77th British Academy Film Awards and was nominated in 11 categories at the 96th Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Poor Things also won 2 Golden Globe Awards, Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy, and Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy for Emma Stone. Development on the film began in early 2009, with Lanthimos went to Scotland to discuss with the author of Poor Things, Alasdair Gray, the acquisition of the rights to his novel. He was a very lovely man, Lanthimos would say. Unfortunately, he died just a couple of years before we could actually make the film, but he was very special and energetic. He was 80-something when we met, and as soon as I got there, he had seen Dogtooth and said, "I had my friend put on the DVD because I don't know how to operate those things, but I think you're a very talented young man." Lanthimos said Gray took him on a personal tour of Glasgow, where Gray showed Lanthimos several places that he incorporated into the story. While filming The Favourite in 2018, Lanthimos revisited the project, which he discussed with Emma Stone, who had starred in that film. Lanthimos began developing Poor Things more actively following the success of The Favourite. Lanthimos would say, "After the relative success of The Favourite, where I actually made a slightly more expensive film that was successful, people were more inclined to allow me to do whatever I wanted. So I just went back to Gray's book and said, this is exactly what I want to do." It was a long process, but the book was always on my mind. While developing the film, Lanthimos and Stone collaborated on a short film called Bleat in 2022. Poor Things was announced in February 2021. Lanthimos felt that working with Stone again gave him an advantage to the production, as they had developed a mutual trust. Stone also discussed how the process of making Poor Things was different in comparison to The Favourite, because she also acted as a producer. She would say, "It was so interesting to be involved in how the film was being pieced together." In preparation for her role, Stone took dance lessons and dyed her hair black, which she admitted was accidental. Lanthimos reflected that the dark hair contrasted with Stone's fair complexion so much that they agreed to go forward with the look. Describing her characterization of Bella, Stone was attracted to the idea of portraying a woman reborn with a liberated mindset free from societal pressures. "It's such a fairy tale," she would say, and a metaphor, clearly that this can't actually happen, but the idea that you could start anew as a woman, as this body that's already formed, you see everything for the first time and try to understand the nature of sexuality or power or money or choice, the ability to make choices, live by your own rules and not society's. I thought that was a really fascinating world to step into. Stone especially appreciated Bella's lack of shame in regards to experiences. She would say, "Even though Bella has obviously been through trauma in her life, it just isn't there for her now. She was the most joyous character in the world to play because she had no shame about anything. She's new, you know. I'd never had to build a character before that didn't have things that had happened to them or been put on them by society throughout their lives. It was an extremely freeing experience to be her." Ramy Youssef revealed that in preparation for their roles, he and Dafoe attended mortician school, reflecting on the experimental theatre games Lanthimos had signed the cast prior filming. Dafoe said, "You're very patient with everyone. Everyone's patient with you. They need to be confident in what you're doing, because what we're doing is quite risky. It's not a normal film." Additionally, Dafoe spent 6 hours each day in hair and makeup department, 4 hours getting extensive prosthetics applied to his face at the start of the day and 2 hours to get it all taken off at the end of the day. Dafoe would say, "I'm showing up at 3 o'clock in the morning, sitting in the chair, meditating and trying to deal with standing still. You can't sleep because it's intricate enough that you've got to work with the people applying it. It's a grind, but I liked working with the mask in there. Quite literally, it is a mask." Discussing the male characterizations, Lanthimos acknowledged that while each male character was different, he had his own individual motivation, that each represented male attitudes typical of the story of Victorian setting. Lanthimos stated, "There are variations, I guess, but in the film there is a general tendency to try and control Bella, even if it's done in a caring or subtle way, in the way that the parent might be in Dafoe's character, Baxter does, or just infatuated by the way Ramy is. You know, being a nice man deep down, but still having the characteristics of a man of that era. Stone also asserted that the more agency Bella gets, the more she learns and grows, the more drives these three men insane. The more she has an opinion and her own wants and needs and all of that, it makes them crazy. They want her to stay as this sort of pure, untouched thing. According to cinematographer Robbie Ryan, Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula served as the main source of inspiration to everyone making the picture, and the movie was referred to most. Lanthimos also worked closely with costume designer Holly Wellington in order to reflect Bella's growth and development through her wardrobe, from the more puffy silhouettes or childlike era to the nearly corseted gown she wears at the film's climax. Mark Ruffalo was initially hesitant about the role of Duncan Wedderburn. He would say to director Yorgos, "I don't think I'm right for this," Ruffalo said, but Yorgos apparently just laughed at me and said, "It's you. The role is yours." Ruffalo also had lots of doubts about his performance during the shoot. He even half-joked with his friend Oscar Isaac, who was filming on a nearby soundstage, that he was going to be called to replace him. One day, Willem Dafoe pranked Ruffalo by taking him to a room where Isaac, who was in on the joke, was waiting. Isaac and Dafoe informed Ruffalo he was fired, indeed getting replaced by Isaac. Ruffalo also admitted he normally strongly dislikes filming sex and nude scenes, but getting to perform most of the scenes with Emma Stone made them so much more fun, giving her sense of humour and joking in between takes. By the end of the film, Emma Stone's hair extensions were 4 feet long. To shoot the hybrid animals, one of each real animal was on set, and the other half of the animal edited in later. Emma Stone named the goose Goose Willis, and another animal Meryl Cheap. A lot of the production was inspired by genitalia. For example, the phallic windows outside the brothel and a shirt of the costume department are designed to be ionic. Despite earning rave reviews, the film also faced backlash, with some questioning the exploitive nature of the film's nudity and sex scenes and what they viewed as troubling consent issues, given Bella has the brain of a child. Emma Stone and the director disagreed with the backlash. Speaking to The Times about the backlash, Stone said, "If it helps as a person who played it and produced it, I didn't see her as a child in any of those scenes." Yorgos would say, but even that is too literal. If you take the film literally, where you start discussing it in terms of the brain of a child, then you're kind of missing the point of storytelling in general. If you start to analyze the film as something that would actually happen, then of course this film would never work for you. Colour is strikingly used to symbolize the main character's progression during the movie. The film begins in black and white, as babies do not see colours until around 4 months of age, reflecting the undeveloped brain of Bella. It also overlaps with the scenes where Bella is still under Godwin's curfew, symbolizing her lack of freedom. Once colour starts to be used in the movie, it progresses from the vibrant Lisbon and dramatic sky during the cruise to a less saturated wintry Paris, ending up with the very realistic colours in London during the final scenes. This reflects the way a child sees the world on her way to maturity. Now, I found this to be an incredibly original, imaginative, and exhilaratingly over-the-top piece of filmmaking that I loved from start to finish. Emma Stone turns out arguably her best performance in her career. The role of Bella Baxter could not have been an easy one to take on, but yet Emma Stone sinks her teeth into the role absolutely perfectly, never shying away from any of the scenes. It's a bold, unflinching portrayal of Bella Baxter, from a child almost learning her way through the world to a woman gaining sexual experience in every facet of life, as we sort of go on this journey with her as she learns and grows and becomes more cynical along the way. This film genuinely made me laugh out loud. There were some incredibly funny moments, and the scenes, particularly between Stone and a phenomenal performance here for Mark Ruffalo, really were just absolutely delightful. Ruffalo is an actor that I can take or leave, but for me this is one of his best performances ever, as he plays Duncan Wedderburn with a suave sophistication, but beneath it all he's just another insecure man, trying to overcompensate. Dafoe too turns out a fantastic performance here as the sort of Frankenstein doctor here, Dr. Godwin Baxter. And even under layers of prosthetics, Dafoe still brings a lot of heart to his performance, as does Ramy Youssef as Max McCandles. And also a brilliant turn here by Christopher Abbott as Alfie Bessington, one of the main antagonists of the piece. I also love the role by Jerrod Carmichael here, Harry Astley. He's so cynical, yet makes such vital and fascinating points. For me, I could see an influence from the likes of, say, Wes Anderson. Even the story of Lemony Snicket's and a series of unfortunate events seems to influence Yorgos Lanthimos in the way he's produced this vibrant, colourful, fascinating film. From just the uses of black and white at the start to the gorgeous colours in the middle to the more tonal colours at the end, it's just so clever and well put together. The script too is absolutely outstanding. It's biting, it's harsh, but yet it's so poignant, reflective, and I just love the way Bella Baxter interprets the world in her own strange, enigmatic ways. In many ways this is a dark comedy, and is certainly not for the faint of heart, and I can tell you now this is a film that will be very controversial in some ways and rub a lot of people the wrong way. This is not a conservative viewing piece of filmmaking, but what it is, though, is outstanding. It's brilliant and really could be seen as a masterpiece, a film that you could watch time and time again and learn and understand new aspects to it. From its magnificent performances, originality in terms of script, phenomenal visuals, even a fantastic score, and frankly, downright fascinating commentary on the way we approach our lives as stuck-up and ceremonial, when we could all maybe learn a thing or two from Bella Baxter, but not quite follow her in the footsteps. Poor Things is an original piece of filmmaking that is absolutely stunning, and I'd highly, highly recommend. Poor Things gets a 9.5 out of 10.